Welcome to the fourth part of our revision for grade 10. Fourthly, we are going to revise the modal verbs. What are modal verbs? We have many examples for modal verbs, such as can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, and ought to. So what's the meaning of modal verbs? How are they defined? They are auxiliary verbs that provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. Modal verbs are sometimes referred to as modal auxiliary verbs because they help other verbs. Let's firstly talk about the form of the modal verb. How can I use the modal verb in English sentences, such as using can, or must, or shall, or should, or all these modal verbs? It's correct to say he can work, but this is correct sentence. But you cannot say he cans work or he can works. This is not correct. It's not correct because of many reasons. Firstly, I cannot add any extra letters or any addition to the modal verbs. I cannot say oughts or cans. This is not right. This is not English. This is the first reason. The second reason, after all the modal verbs, I have to use the infinitive. I have to use the infinitive without to. I say he can work, I can work, they can work. So the verb work cannot be changed at all with the modal verbs. It must be in the infinitive. So this is the first thing you have to know about the modals. Let's see the modals in the question, and how can the modal verbs used in the questions. When I have a question like, would you like to come with me? Would you like to come with me? Where is the modal here? The modal is would. This is correct question. But when you say, do you would like to come with me? This is not correct at all, because you cannot use two auxiliary verbs in one question. Do is auxiliary verb, would is auxiliary verb. Because of that, this is not correct. The correct question must be, would you like to come with me? Just one auxiliary verb. I can use the modal verbs in the negative case. I can say, they can't be serious. This is correct. But I cannot say, they can be serious. This is not correct. You can add not after all the modal verbs. You can add not to the modal verbs. You can say, shouldn't, or mustn't, or can, or couldn't, or won't, or will not, and wouldn't. I mean, you can put the modal verbs in the negative case. Because of that, it's correct to say they can't be serious, and it's not correct at all if you say they can be serious. Now, let's understand the very important part in the modal verbs. What do they express? Or do we have difference in the meaning when I use can, or should, or must, or ought to? Do we have any difference in the sentence when I have these modal verbs? We can see here these modal verbs, or modal verbs can have more than one meaning, and these different meanings are depending on the situation itself. So according to the situation, I can identify the meaning and the reference of the modal verb. We can understand the functions or the jobs of the modal verbs from this chart. If I have the modal will, it can be used to express the future. When I say Joe will travel to New York next week, might can express small probability. I might move to Canada someday. Should, for giving recommendations or advice or giving a suggestion or a strong suggestion. You should go to the doctor. This is a kind of suggestion or a kind of recommendation or a kind of advice. I can use ought to for different uses. According to the meaning of the situation, I can identify. Ought to is used to express the obligation. When you are obliged to do something, when I say, I ought to get up early to go to my school, so I am obliged to do that. And ought to is used to express formal recommendation. We ought to know about first aids. So this is formal recommendation. If you want to recommend something formally, you can use ought to. And let's see, may. We can use may to express permission when we use may in the structure of a question. When I say, may I come in? This is a kind of permission. And we can use may to express good probability. When I say, we may visit Mexico this summer, so this is good probability or high probability. Must is used for the necessity and for the responsibility. When I say, everyone must pay taxes, this is necessity. And we always say we use must for expressing the necessity and the rules, and we use must for expressing the outer obligation. When the signal is red, you must stop. This is rule, and we have to follow. And we use must to express logical assumption. She didn't arrive. She must be sick. So I have reason and result. Because of that, it's called logical assumption. She didn't arrive. She must be sick. Now, let's take practice for the modal verbs. You have to choose the correct answer. Number 1. Children space be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. Children space be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. Which is correct? To say ought to, must, would, or mustn't. What's the correct answer? Yes, it's must. Children must be. Children must be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. This is rule or necessity. Use space talk during tests. It's forbidden, and try to pay attention to the word forbidden. It makes sense and gives you reference to the right answer. Which is correct to say you don't have to talk, or you mustn't talk, or you couldn't talk, or you ought to talk. The correct answer is Excellent. The correct answer is mustn't, because I'm talking about prohibition. Prohibition means something is forbidden. When I say you mustn't park here, it means it's forbidden to park here. Sentence number 3. I can feel the heat. We space be near the fire. We can be near. We would be near. We must be near. We have to be near. What's the correct answer? Excellent. It's must, because I'm talking about logical assumption. I can feel the heat, so the reason is we must be near the fire. So this is logical assumption, and we have said that we can use must for expressing the logical assumption. Sentence number 4. They space hear him because he was whispering. They wouldn't, they mustn't, they shouldn't, they couldn't. What's the correct answer? The correct answer is couldn't. And the word couldn't here, or the modal couldn't here, expresses lack of ability in the past. And it also expresses a logical assumption. Number 5, you have never heard of Ronaldo? You've never heard of Ronaldo? You space be serious. You must be serious. You had to be serious. You can't be serious. You shouldn't be serious. What's the correct answer? Yes, the correct answer is can't.